Welcome back. I'm Wavepunk, and this is day 54 of producing for a year. Today, we're going to start knocking things off the list of things I made at the end of yesterday's episode that I needed to do to finish the track. The first thing on that list was to add this sword sound effect. It's a sound that's been ringing in my ears for a long time while working on this track, and it calls back to one of this track's inspirations that I've mentioned before, the He's a Pirate remix by Tiesto from the Dead Man's Chest Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack. At one point in that track, he uses a lot of sound effects from the movies, and there's a specific shing of a sword coming out of a scabbard at some point, and it uses it kind of a transition to like kind of build energy, and I'm like, that would work really well in a boss fight track as well. I don't want to use the exact one that Tiesto used from Pirates. I don't want to tempt the Disney overlords to strike my video in any way possible. So I looked through the Logic library. Logic's sample library didn't have any sword sound effects, so I go to Sample Focus and see what they've got. They had a number of things, one of which sort of worked, sounded like this. Close enough. It's got its nice own flair to it, so we work with it here. The first thing we do is we EQ out the bass. And then I split the sample in two and put them in two separate tracks because I want to delay this. I want it to go shing, 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 shing. But the beginning part, it's a little bit too long. So I want just the last half of the sample to echo. So put it into two channels here, put a delay on it, sounded like this. Now, it's a little bit dry, so we add a reverb to both. I don't want to add another reverb here. I mean, I could, but there's so many patches that already have reverbs on buses, so I just went to the bus list and found one that the name of which looked like it would be right and routed an extra send out of both these channels to that bus, and it created a nice wet sound. Adjusted the volume and the timing, and we ended up with this final product. Cool, happy with that for now. Let's move on. Next, I want to put in some more impacts and swells in spots, and this will be a continuous process of just slowly adding more and more of these. I watched a video yesterday where a producer used impacts in the middle of builds to help emphasize that energy was increasing. And I usually have always used impacts kind of like at big transition moments or on the tail of a riser. And I thought this was a cool, different way to use impacts. So I thought the climactic build section would be a good spot to do that. With each one of these, the question of whether to allow them under 100 hertz or not was a consistent battle because, again, I'm trying to keep that low and clean. Some of these are big kind of like thunderous impacts that feel like they should resonate in kind of a low end and shake your subwoofer a little bit. And the idea of adding a actual literal thunder sound effect, especially during the climactic build, was a cool idea. So I went hunting for that. Was surprised to find in Logic's sample library that seems to have all sorts of random sounds in it that they didn't have a thunder or just a rolling thunder patch. So back to Sample Focus we go, looking through that library. Surprisingly, they had a whole bunch of really loud thunder sound effects, but nothing that was kind of this like low bed of just like kind of that I wanted to have underneath. And so I go to YouTube. YouTube had a few that were close enough, one in particular that I did like. So YouTube to MP3, find a website. Always be careful on these websites that you click the right link. They give you so many pop-ups. You can get so much weird stuff. But basically, if you're not confident it's the right thing to click, it's probably the wrong thing to click. So just be careful when you're downloading these samples. But got it in there. Let's see what it sounds like. Honestly, kind of cool. I don't know if it's exactly the right place for it to sit right now, but that is all we have time for today. So we'll work on making that fit a little bit better tomorrow and see what else we get done. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.